Hi everybody, Ray here. Today I want to share with you an upgrade to my rolling table saw stand. If you haven't seen that video, I suggest you go back and watch it. But what I did was I added a side wing here, so if I wanted to cut wider pieces, it makes it much more stable, much more safe, and much more accurate. If you've got an interest in how I do this, and it is really simple, stick around and I'll show you how I did it. And don't forget, if you like this video, hit that like button for me, and don't forget to subscribe. My portable table saw measures 11 inches from my blade to the edge of the portable saw table itself. The cart that I have it sitting in, I have the surface of the saw raised slightly above the edge of the cart here. And I do that because I didn't want it dragging on this wood on the edge of the cart. This is a much smoother surface. The problem is, if I have a 4-foot board and I want to cut 12 inches off of that, I'm constantly dealing with this. So it's hard to get a good accurate cut, slide that along there, and keep it balanced at the same time, because obviously if it raises up any at all, my cut is not going to be at a perfect 90-degree angle, and that can be a little bit of a problem. To solve that problem, I added a little wing on here. And it's very simple. You just fold it up like that, slide this piece in here. It's nice and stable. I made sure it was level with the top of my saw, and I'll show you how I did that. And now if I want to take a 4-foot board and cut a foot off of it, I'm in good shape. Even if I just wanted to cut 6 inches off of it, it still balances on here just fine. This isn't huge. My wing is only 10 inches. So from the edge of the saw to the edge of my wing, and including the gap here in the cart, it gives me about an additional 11 inches to balance a longer board. The surface that I used for my wing is just a 1/2-inch piece of MDF. This isn't going to be supporting a tremendous amount of weight, so I didn't have to use anything any thicker or heavier than that. In order to make sure that it was flush with the top of my table, I simply took a board, made sure that both surfaces were really flat against each other, and then I drew a line underneath the board that I wanted to anchor to the side, my wing board. Then I just took a little piece of scrap, and I just used a couple of finishing nails, a pin nailer actually, and I just nailed this right under that board where that line would be. So I knew when I set this board on here that there was going to be flush with the top of my table. And from that point, I could figure out where I wanted to put my hinges to make sure that this stayed exactly where it was supposed to stay on that line. To anchor my wing to my cart, I first added a piece of 3/8-inch plywood that I glued underneath my MDF wing, and then I also screwed it in. This gave me a good support for my hinges that I wanted to add here. I don't like putting screws in MDF. So I was able to set this on my guides, my tabletop on my guides that I had put here. And then from there, I was able to mark where I needed to put the screws for my hinges, and then go ahead and put the hinges on my leaf table. That allowed the wing to swing up and down perfectly. Then I took a piece of 1x4 and added this piece down here. And what this does is this gives me some place to anchor my support. Then underneath where I have my finger here, I just added a small piece. This looks like maybe a piece of 3/4-inch plywood that I had laying around. I just glued this onto my MDF, and then I just took another 1x4 and cut 45-degree angles such that it would slide in there and support my surface so it would remain perfectly level with the rest of my saw table on top. So that's all there was to this. It was really a very simple project. When I want to put it away, I just slide my board out, stick it in my table here, and it's down out of my way. So that little simple wing gives me the ability to cut wider stock on a small portable job site saw and do it more accurately and more safely. If you're worried about this board tipping up and down, you're not going to get an accurate cut. And also, you're concentrating on something other than just making sure you get through that saw and keeping your hands away from the blade and so forth and not looking over here to see if it's tilting. It's just a much safer and more accurate way to do things. Now, you might be asking yourself, if this board were wider this way, then as I got to the end of my cut, it might want to start falling off of this table here. And that's true. If I used something really wide like that, then what I would do would be just to add a small roller stand. You can get these roller stands from Home Depot or Lowe's. I think they're, I don't know, around 40 bucks or so, but they're a really handy little tool to have. If I was doing something long, I could put it at the very end. If I'm doing something wider, then I can set it there. And then as I run through here with my wider board, it's got support and it's not going to fall off. The last thing that I'll mention is after I put this MDF on here, like I do with all of the surfaces of my table saw, is I put a coat of Carnauba wax on there. This happens to be crystal clear paste wax, it's called, and it just makes everything slide so much easier across this table. So I keep all of my surfaces with a really light coat of this paste wax, including my bar over here. I keep that, I put some paste wax on that as well. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, don't forget, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. I'll see you on the next video, and thanks for watching.